Hello, this is my video reflection. Um, I have some notes here. So for on understanding human behavior and social environment for chapter one, um, it's basically on person in environment perspective. Um, important of systems, diversity, oppression, and social justice. And it's a like introduction to social work, explaining how environment shapes individual experiences. Chapter two is on psychodynamic and learning, humanistic and ecological system theories, highlighting different theological lenses, um, guiding assessments and intervention with clients. Chapter three, nature versus nurture, prenatal stages, risk factors, bonding, and how it explains both biological and environmental contribution to child's earliest development. Chapter four is on brain development and attachment and milestones, family and cultural influence, and highlights relationships, early trust, learning, and emotional health. So that's that. And then the second text in development on purpose, the chapter four has to is about infants reflexes, trust versus mistrust, and basically Eric and Erickson's video, nurturing caregiving, highlighting care not only supports survival but lays out a spiritual and emotional foundation. And chapter five is autonomy versus shame and guilt. Um, Initiative versus guilt, play, motor, and language skills. It explains how the freedom to explore helps children build confidence in their God-given purpose. Chapter six, industry versus inferiority, peer influence and self-esteem, school performance, and sorry, um, so the chapter explains social and spiritual and academic influences, how they intersect and help shape a child's sense of worth. So as for the video, Eric Erickson's psychosocial development, eight stages. The first stage, which is trust versus mistrust from ages 0 to 1. Trust, an example of trust is the baby cries and the caregiver would respond with comfort or food or something. And the baby builds trust in that caregiver. However, if the baby cries and eventually realizes that the caregiver or nobody's responding, then it begins to see the world as unsafe and not trustworthy or doesn't build trust basically. For the second one, autonomy versus shame and doubt, ages 1 to 3. Autonomy, an example is a toddler tries to dress itself and is or dresses itself and is encouraged, and the verses would be like for shame and doubt, an example would be if the toddler dresses themselves or attempts to dress themselves and is scolded or punished or basically yelled at, and then they build um like they feel unable to do things, incapable of doing things. um for 3, initiative versus guilt, ages 3 to 6. Oops. Initiative. An example is the child pretends to be a teacher and parents cheer and build confidence. So like the child is doing something and the response that they get is the parent cheering for them. versus guilt, which is the child being told to stop being silly. The child feels guilt for trying. And four, industry versus inferiority, ages 6 to 12. Industry student works hard and is praised, so rewarded for their schooling and their effort, and they feel capable of doing things. And inferiority, like the student struggles and is put down and feels less than peers, um, like just feeling less than. So five, ident uh, identify versus role confusion from age 12 to 18. Um, identity, like the teen explores interests and is supported at home or by adults around, develops clear identity of self. Versus role confusion, which is the teen is mocked or pressured, based on them trying to form their identity, and they feel lost about who they are, unsure. Number six, intimacy versus isolation from 20s through 40s. Intimacy, young adults build healthy, close relationships, and versus isolation, which is they avoid closeness, they fear rejection, and leads to feeling lonely throughout their life. Number seven is generativity versus stagnation, 40s to ages 40s to 60s. Um, I can't say this. Generativity, adult raising children, mentors or gives back to community. So like um, reaching an age to where you like giving back to like grandchildren or children in teaching them how to be full adults basically, um, versus stagnation, which is adults feel stuck, unproductive, and self-focused. So like I want to say like midlife crisis kind of things. um Eight is integrity versus despair, which is 65 and older. And integrity is the elders reflect with pride and peace. So like grandparents who are like peaceful, like that peaceful grandparent who is pleasant to be around versus despair, which is elders reflect on regret and bitterness, being grouchy all the time, unpleasant. The first thing that comes to mind is like someone in an old person's home, um, and like they're just negative. Um, and for Paget's cognitive development stages and the video, um, it has the stages. So one is sensory motor, ages 0 to 2, learning through the senses, movement, object permanence. Um, so like if someone goes like when you drop a kid off at daycare, which I always was told, and then you come back, like they realize you're gonna come back, like even though they can't see you. Um, two is pre-operational, is ages 2 to 7. Symbolic play, so like when they're playing with toys and or pretending to be things or people. Language growth, egocentric children use imagination but struggle with logic. So I know I have a 6-year old, and you can kind of say and do whatever for the most part, because as long as her imagination is there, she's not really like looking for the small details and the facts in between. Um, concrete operational, which is 7 to 11, ages 7 to 11. Logical but concrete. So that's where more of the logic comes in. Um, rules, cause and effects, like causes that lead to like outcomes and stuff. um, understanding fairness and simple reasoning. Um, and then four, formal operational, which is ages 12 and older, abstract reasoning, hypothetical thinking, planning, and adolescents can think about more morality, justice in the future. So being able to understand like kind of like serious things like life and death, or like death and um that being a part of life, and like rules and fairness and not adult type things, but kind of like the beginning of that. So there's that. Thank you.